Wow, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's another wonderful session that we are going to engage in another wonderful topic. Very controversial, very complicated, very confusing, very hot, tough. And I can tell you, this is the topic that most of you are always asking and saying, oh my God. You're asking what's the topic? We are delving into the issues of marriage. For those who are looking forward to get married, for those people who are looking forward to have their weddings, you know, I've realized that the number of people filing divorce cases was higher than actually the number of people contacted COVID in 2020. That is very serious. So before you get into marriage, as you're getting into it, we've decided to bring to this so that you understand whatever you are getting into. Many people have lost property through marriage. I can tell you, many people have. We have people killing each other, people doing a lot of things because of marriage. So we are not going to take it from the biblical point of view. Please, we are not preaching for you. We are just going to look at it from the law aspect. Welcome, be with us, and as usual, my name is Ringa Ruoth. And my co-host and
Mengesa.
Sheila Mengesa, always smiling. Let me tell you, this girl ananitesa hapa.
You're crazy.
Ananitesa hapa, lakini ni sawa. Niko na neema ya kutosha na kwa hivyo tutaendelesha mazungumzo. Karibu wakili.
Thank you very much.
Let's speak this.
Welcome back, guys. So today we'll be taking you through marriage. Yes.
Okay.
The very controversial issue of marriage.
This is where many people are always saying, you know, I don't want to go there.
Yes.
There are a lot of things.
Right.
So tell us, but basically, how does Kenyan law define marriage?
So in Kenya, marriage has been defined as the voluntary union of a man and a woman, whether in a monogamous or polygamous union, and registered under the Marriage Act.
So, one thing I want to pick up very seriously.
Yes.
This is not biblical. This is according to the Kenyan law.
Yes.
It's voluntary. So please, it's not forced. You're not forced to be in a marriage. Second, it's about a man
And a
woman.
So gay marriages have not been provided for under the law. It doesn't recognize gay marriages, which is a bit unfortunate.
It's more fortunate. It's fortunate.
Okay.
Okay, that's a discussion for another day. But according to the law of Kenya, it's a voluntary relationship between a man
and a woman.
Okay.
Whether it's monogamous or polygamous. So the law allows for polygamous marriage, but the marriage has to be registered under the Marriage Act.
So meaning you've registered the first marriage, you can go to the register of persons and register another marriage.
If it is a polygamous, yes.
Yes, and you go to again register another one, you know.
You can just keep marrying them as long as you can provide
this
for
is
them.
the point. This is the point. Most of the time, people, if you already have a civil marriage that is active, you are not allowed.
We will get to there. You cannot have a civil marriage because civil marriages are believed to be polygamous. They are considered to be monogamous. Monogamous. Yeah. So you cannot marry another wife when you are married under a monogamous marriage. Yes.
Okay, fine. Let me not get
preempt. You are preempting the topic.
Okay. So basically, from the petition, identify some of the things. What are some of the necessary factors or some of the things, features that makes a marriage?
So first, for parties to get married, they must have capacity to enter into the marriage. So they should be of 18 years and above. This is according to Kenya.
Okay.
And they should be of opposite sex, that is man and woman. And it has to be voluntary.
Okay.
And then the registration part, it has to be registered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So just speaking it on that, what are some of the different types of marriages that you have in Kenya?
In Kenya, there are 5 types of marriages.
5?
Yes, 5. We have Christian marriages, civil marriages, customary marriages, Islamic marriages, and Hindu marriages.
Oh!
Yes.
But I thought if you say religious, it covers the... because the laws that govern marriage in these other 3... Hindu,
very different. You know, Islamic marriage really differs from Christian marriage. They have their own different practices.
Okay.
Hindu marriage is just another practice on its own. They have their own culture of going around the fire and what have you. So these are completely different types of marriages.
Okay.
But today we'll be talking about 3 types of marriages.
Okay.
Yes.
Basically,
Christian, civil, and customary.
Okay.
Yes.
Why not Hindu and Islamic?
Because our audience had requested us to talk about these 3 types of marriage, and that is what we are going to focus on today.
But again, just to make it clearer for you, most of these other 2 types of marriages, like Islamic marriages and Hindu,
yeah.
they deal with their marriages a bit differently and a bit in their
according to their culture, religious culture
aspect. So you realize they are discussing them much will not even really bring help to you, because most of them are dealt with from the Kadis or from their Hindu cultures.
Yes.
So I hope you get it right. So it's not that we have segmented them or we have avoided them.
And we are not experts in their customary practices.
Yes.
I don't know if the Hindu get married before a cow. I'm not an expert. If you want us to teach you about their practices,
we'll be able to get.
We'll bring an expert.
Yes.
Yes.
Who is very
conversant
with those topics. The topics of Islamic and Hindu marriages. Okay, so picking it up, let's go straight to Christian marriages.
Okay. So as the name suggests, these are marriages celebrated by people who profess the Christian religion. Yeah. It's of most importance that the clergyman who conducts the celebration be licensed. Like the pastor who officiates the marriage has to be licensed. And to contract this type of marriage, the couple is expected to visit the marriage registrar and make an application for registration of marriage. So as we had indicated earlier, that marriage has to be registered. So even if you are getting married under the Christian law, you have to visit the registrar and get the marriage registered. So
okay, I'll ask these questions as we continue.
Okay.
Because I want first let's go through the 3 types, and then now I'll be a bit specific on some of the controversial questions that people have had. Because I've had scenarios where there's a friend of mine who they got married in church. The wedding was good. We ate good pilau.
Okay.
Now, these guys wanted to fly abroad, and then presenting their certificates at the embassy, they could not accept the certificate.
Right.
The reason, the person who officiated the marriage was not licensed. So they had, basically according to the embassy, these people, the marriage was not official.
It was void.
It is void. It was void, and things like that. I've also had some pastors saying, if you don't do a wedding in church, that marriage is void. And
I think that's a myth.
Something like that.
You can choose to get a civil marriage, a customary marriage, and it will be a legal marriage as long as it's registered under the Marriage Act. As long as you approach the registrar and get it registered. In Kenya we have various religious practices. Not everyone in Kenya is a Christian. Yeah, so you cannot bundle everyone in one religion and force them to get married under the Christian marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I've had even pastors saying, msipokuja hapa tuwawekelee mkono, msipokuja hapa tuwaombe, hiyo ndoa sio ndoa.
You cannot force people into your religion. Kenya is a free country.
No, basically when they're addressing their congregants. So I just want maybe to correct this perception.
That is a very false perception, because Kenya recognizes these 5 types of marriages. So you can get married under either of them.
No, particularly.
As long as you get it registered, it will be a valid marriage.
Now, a conversation specifically to Christians. Maybe they have done the civil.
Yes.
But they have not gone to church to do the Christian whatever processes. And the pastor says, if you don't come here and you eat your cake.
Kenya is a free country.
Okay.
And you cannot force people into your religion.
Okay.
If I'm married under the civil marriage and it's registered, I have my marriage certificate, I am duly married.
You're duly married.
Yeah, you cannot force me to go to church and and give you cake and feed your congregation. Yeah.
Okay, let's move it to now. What are some of the requirements when you are doing a Christian marriage?
Okay, so you must have copies of your identification cards, ID. You must have colored passport photos for both parties. And then you have to make a payment of 600 shillings, which will serve as the notice to get married. Yeah, this notice will run for 21 days.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want to clear this. There's usually a confusion where parties who intend to oppose a marriage run to court on the day, run to church on the day of the wedding to go and try to oppose the marriage. That is not how it is done. You see, when parties approach the church with the intention of getting married, they are supposed to announce the marriage like 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah, within the 21 days. And you are supposed to take this opportunity to approach the church and tender your intentions of opposing this marriage. Yeah. If you fail to approach the pastor or whoever within these 21 days, then you'll be
time bad.
Yes. So you cannot just storm somebody's wedding day and cause drama and scream
embarrassment.
Yes.
Counsel, just to ask now, is it illegal? Is it breaking the law? Can I sue somebody for coming to
because you literally be causing public disturbance and being a melodramatic person and storming in someone's like wedding and failing to follow the law, because the law is very clear. You're supposed to object within these 21 days.
So if the 21 days elapses and you've not objected, keep quiet.
It's your own laws.
Let people have their...
Let people love each other. Let people get married. Yes, they say marriage is a beautiful thing. I don't know. Maybe you can tell us. I have...
Divorces.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's move to maybe civil marriage.
Okay. So civil marriage is this type of marriage that has been known as DC marriage or the AG marriages.
Okay.
Yeah, Kitambo people used to say we are going to the DC and whatnot. So these days you are supposed to apply for it on eCitizen. Yeah, Kenyans are allowed to have the eCitizen app where you can apply for marriage, like passports, business registration. Yeah, all the government services are provided there. Yeah, so you go on eCitizen, then you make the application, and then you upload the necessary documents. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the requirements are that the couple should give a notice to the registrar of marriage of the intention to contract a civil marriage.
Okay.
And the application should be accompanied with couple's identification cards, ID, colored passport photos for both parties, and a payment of 600 shillings.
Okay. So basically the process remains the same in terms of...
because this 600 shillings goes towards the notice, the issuance of notice.
The issuance of
notice. To so welcome the objectors.
The objectors.
Yes.
So basically you look at the requirements of the civil marriage and the requirement of the Christian marriage.
Yes.
Now, if you look at this, does it mean that the church marriage or the whatever we normally call the wedding is just a celebration? Because
it's just a celebration because you must first approach the marriage registrar to have your marriage registered. Yes, the marriage registrar under the Marriage Act for it to be valid. Yes.
Okay. Right. Fine. Thank you. So it's the same process. You pay, you have the identification, you wait for 21 days.
And then after the 21 days, you'll pay 3,300.
Okay.
And then you are given a marriage date according to the official diary, the AG's official diary.
Yes.
On the date of marriage, you're supposed to go, you and your spouse, you're supposed to go there with 2 witnesses. And the registrar of marriage will officiate
the exchange of vows
through a small ceremony, and you'll exchange vows, exchange rings, and then you vamos for your honeymoon or whatever you decide.
Okay. So what about the customary marriage?
So customary marriage is usually celebrated under the customs of the couple that intends to marry.
Okay.
In Kenya, we have a lot of tribes, and they both exercise different customary practices. The Nandi, the Luya, the Kikuyu, whatever. Yeah.
The Luos,
yeah.
The Kambas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then mostly under customary marriage, there's usually payment of dowry, which is very key to signify the happening of a marriage. Yes, dowry, in most communities, dowry is usually very key. And then to register this type of marriage, the couple is expected to notify the registrar within 3 months of completion of the relevant ceremonies or steps that require the conferring of the status of marriage to the couple. So after 3 months of completing your rites, your ceremonies, taking mursik, and payment of dowry and taking of photos, so you notify the marriage registrar, and your marriage will be registered.
Okay. So meaning, in this case, for example, you've conducted a customary marriage, will you still follow the same procedure of paying the whatevers and the 600 and...
No, you know, the 600 is meant for issuance of notice for any objectors.
Obviously.
But the same...
In this case, these people have already gotten married.
Yeah, you've already gotten married under your customs.
Under the customary laws.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So what rights do I have when married?
So once you get married,
yes.
You get the right to consummate your marriage.
Okay.
You get the right to inherit your spouse's property upon death. You get the right to a personal representative to your spouse. Like when they die, you become an administrator. Okay. You administer their estate. And then you get the spousal privileges. Yeah, I usually advise people, do not just elope without registering your marriage, because you will not be entitled to these rights, especially to inherit your spouse's property if the marriage was not registered. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Wow. Now there is this the rights to consummate. Consummate. Can a marriage be dissolved based on consummation?
Yes, that is one of the grounds for divorce.
Consummation.
Yeah, failing to consummate a marriage.
So how long can that happen?
Okay. Like, for how long does...
As in, for example, if you done a wedding,
if you keep on refusing and refusing and refusing, yes, the other party will have the right to move to court and file for divorce based on failing to consummate the marriage.
It's just a brother.
Yeah, once you get married, you cannot keep on refusing to consummate.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So can a marriage be terminated?
Yes, a marriage can be terminated through divorce.
How does that happen?
The aggrieved parties, if the couple is having irreparable, if the marriage is going through an irreparable damage, one of the party, either party can move to court and file for divorce. A divorce, the same is filed through a petition, and you will serve the other party with the notice to appear of summons, and they will put in their response, and then you file an application, a registrar's application, which will declare the divorce either defended or undefended, and then you are heard and granted your divorce. Okay,
so this is another topic, and I don't want us to get into this divorce topic because I'm sure most of us have been waiting for this topic.
Okay.
So I want to shelve this here so that we pick it from here. The next time we are meeting, we are taking the discussion on now the divorce processes, how do we do things and how do we handle this. But just to take this counsel, can you just give us some of these your, how do you call it, these are funny stories of consequences of having a marriage that is not surely registered or just assuming that things are normal?
So in the last session, I took you through a case where a lady had given a man character development. Today tables have turned. Today tables have turned. I'll be taking you through a case where a man
is the one that
gave a woman some very serious
character
development.
Okay.
I don't want to mention names
we are
because
not going to mention
these are very senior politicians involved in this case, but I'll mention the case number so that you can go Google. and love and yes. So this is divorce cause number 272 of 2019. This decision was given on 27th of September. Still very fresh.
Very fresh.
The wounds are still very fresh.
So basically, just taking us.
So the petitioner, let me give you very brief facts.
Yes.
The petitioner was a very rich woman, politician.
No, please don't mention
married to another politician.
Yes.
And
begin giving people hints to begin suspecting.
If you know, you know.
No.
So actually, the asset recovery was going after the petitioner. Yes,
the petitioner.
Going after the properties. Yes, because she was suspected to have obtained them through
fraudulent processes.
Yes.
Okay.
So what this petitioner did, she hurriedly transferred the properties
to the
respondent.
To the presumed.
Yes, to the presumed respondent, who she assumed was her husband.
Okay.
But when they met, both parties were married. Yeah, when they met, both of them were married. But the petitioner divorced their husband, and you see, she was free and she had capacity to get married. But sadly, boy child did not divorce their.
You know, I've never heard of this story.
The boy child held on to the spouse.
I've never heard of this story where the hair told there was
let's go sell our mothers.
Yes, let's go sell our mothers.
Or let's eat our mothers.
Let's eat our babies.
And then the
hyena said. So the hyena said.
The hyena actually ate his mother.
No, we start with yours. So
yeah, I remember that story in class 3.
So the hyena ate his mother.
They actually ate the hyena's mother, yes. And the hare hid his mother.
His mother.
Yes. And it was very sad.
Okay.
So as I had indicated,
so the petitioner moved to court.
Yes, so the respondent had not divorced.
Okay, let's both divorce our.
Yes, they agreed to divorce their spouses, and
then the hyena
and get married. So the petitioner divorced the husband, and they got married under the customary under the Nandi customary law.
Yes.
But they did not register the marriage.
I've also eaten my mother.
Yes. So this other the petitioner assumed that the respondent had divorced their spouse.
Their spouses.
But that was not the case. Boy child held on to the other spouse. For reasons based on to him. Yeah. So there was trouble in paradise, and they separated. And the petitioner even moved in with another man. Yes.
Hey, the petitioner
and she wanted her properties back because she had transferred her properties to the respondent.
The petitioner had really trusted the respondent.
They were in love. You know what happens when people are in love?
In love. Heaven was
they share ATM pins.
Everything was nice. In those days we were eating, the same spoon.
I know, they were feeding each other.
Saying, wash my back and I wash your head.
Yeah, and it ended in premium tears.
Another pizza. And when you finish the pizza, So, my friend, basically, when these things are there, always don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind. Things can change.
Yeah.
So, in this case,
the petitioner wanted her properties back because they had now separated and they had stopped living together, And this petitioner had even moved in with another.
Life moves on.
Yes, life moves on,
Yes.
And so she moved to court and she filed for divorce because according to
by
her...
the time now she was breaking from this second marriage, customary marriage, with the hyena, with the hair. Now, she's now moving to the elephant. Had she dissolved this other marriage?
They had gotten married under the Nandi customary law, but she had divorced the first husband.
Okay.
So she moved to court and filed for divorce because according to her they had been married under customary law.
Okay.
And because if the courts had found that they had been married and the marriage had been dissolved, then it means these properties were matrimonial properties, and they could have shared them.
Okay.
Yeah. But so the issue for determination before court was whether these parties were legally married. Yes. And this was, let me just take you through the last part of the judgment. It's very long. Okay. Yes. So this is what our very, very able, honorable Nyaga had to say about this issue. So, having settled that the customary union between the parties in dispute herein is not a marriage, and neither can it be presumed as such under the laws of Kenya, the consequence is that the prayer sought specifically for the declaration of the existence of marriage and dissolution of the same between the parties herein must fail. Specifically, a decree of divorce cannot issue in respect of an invalid marriage by law. Any attempt to issue the same would be essentially upholding an invalidity. Simply put, the court cannot aid an illegality. As I conclude, I must express my sympathy for the plaintiff. From the evidence, she appeared to think that she had found a partner for till death do us part union.
Oh my God.
She even hastened her divorce from her previous marriage in preparation for the next one. As it turned out, it would all be in vain, as the defendant had not taken any steps to dissolve his own subsisting marriage. Whether this was inadvertence or shrewdness on the part of the defendant, it is a tale of another day. This digressing to that topic would require another full judgment of its own. Therefore, for now, I will not state anything more. From the entirety of the foregoing, I find that the amended plaint dated this date is wanting of merit, and the same is accordingly dismissed. Girl child was played, so the properties have gone with this guy because there was no marriage. This guy had no capacity to enter into a marriage because he was married under the civil law, which is supposed to be monogamous. So he did not have capacity to enter into a customary marriage.
Thank you.
And that is how boy child played girl child.
Thank you.
Culture development in Kenya continues.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Now the question I raised when you are starting, can you be able to get into another marriage, in a civil marriage? The answer is
no. When you're married under Christian or civil marriage,
forget it.
Forget about marrying another wife. Or if you go ahead and marry another wife, she will not be recognized
by
the law.
Or alternatively, you have to divorce.
Yeah, you have to dissolve this other marriage before getting into another one.
Now, just before we finish this, let's clarify this. For example, if you want to get married and you have not divorced, and the law determines that by the time you are getting into this other marriage, this other one was still active, my friend,
the second one will be void.
Thank you. Till next time. Character development is on the bell.